Just like it happened with the Tower of God, it's time for a hate train to begin. Let me make it clear that it's a much better adaptation since it took me 4 episodes before I began shitting on it. That's 4 episodes more than the previous masterpiece that is better than all anime because it's from Korea. And since I began crapping all over that one regarding the pacing, I might as well do the same here. So yes, it's rushed to the point of not being able to enjoy the plot. It's doing the exact same mistake as that other show that is part of this new era of anime. They cram about 6 chapters in a single episode and they expect you to like it. Not that it had much of a plot to begin with, but even that got ruined by the animators who just want to move to the next highlight as soon as possible. As a result, many secondary fights last a few seconds, something as huge as Mira's marriage starts and ends in less than an episode, and as I was told regarding the first episode, there were long introductions regarding the characters before the tournament arc begins. And the thing is, it's a much bigger issue here than it was in the Tower of God, because there is nothing to talk about. They can't use the same excuses as the Tower retards. It won't be hard to follow it if you rewatch the episode. There is no purpose in doing that. The setting and the cast are super simple. You cannot theory craft or chat about what is going on regarding the mysteries of the world. The sole purpose of watching the God of Highschool is the action, and perhaps the build-up towards the action. When they don't even do that, the entire show becomes pointless. So it's not like you can ignore the pacing because you can still enjoy the show by discussing what is going on with the world and the mysteries. There is nothing to discuss in the first place, outside of how crap it is as an adaptation, and I might as well point out all the fundamental problems all webcomics will have in the future. They will all be rushed because Japan doesn't care about webcomics, and most anime fans there don't like Korea. The animation studios are not wasting their time in doing a proper job because they know the superior anime of Korea are going to bomb no matter what they do. There is no hype there, very few care or watch them, even in the West, which has a lot more supporters. Do you actually think that most people are reading the God of Highschool? No, they don't. Did you see the numbers in the sub forum? Just a few thousand subscribers, and out of them only a few hundred are active. That's pathetic. Even the Tower of God, the most popular Korean webcomic of them all, is not that popular. Even after the anime adaptation, which tripled the amount of people reading it, it's still not in the top 10 most popular webcomics in the world. Do you know why? Because 99% of people reading webcomics don't bother with that sort of thing. Unlike in Japan where neketsu rule the market, the thing that sells the most in webcomics are Twilight ripoffs and disgusting fairy trash. That's what most webcomic readers want more of. They don't care about mystery baits or tournament arcs. They want romance and vomiting fairy porn. Even within the Tower of God fandom, many of them are in it just for the shipping wars. Most of the fan art is nutty pictures of the girls and a lot of gay men kissing. So while many here in the West are raging over the rushed adaptations, the animation studios know better. God of Highschool is never going to be mainstream, it's never going to make a lot of money, and it's never going to be loved in Japan. So why bother? Just rush through the content, let the few hundred people who will be interested in it to go read the source, and then move to something more worthy of their time. The God of Highschool being rushed is a problem, but in the long run the animation studios are cutting their losses, and the few hundred disappointed fans will just go back to reading stuff that 99% of webcomic fans don't care about, because it's not fairy gay porn.
Time to go balls deep. I'm going to be breaking down the basic concept of the power system in God of Highschool. It has a price being the lifespan of the user, because in this universe nothing is free. However, there are ways to break this taboo. How does this power borrowing system actually even work? Well, through the user's imagination and empathy, they can shape the power that is given to them. What is this shit? To use Charyok or divine power, the person has to use their own life and biological energy. Even though this current system doesn't have crazy drawbacks, the strength of Charyok is measured by God points or GP, but like Dragon Ball Z, the power levels doesn't mean much later on in the series. Eventually, GP becomes irrelevant. There are multiple ways to exhibit and use Charyok, which are split into 6 classes. A lot of these types of Charyok will be confusing. The person who's using Charyok can manifest it as a force to use as their weapon. In some ways, you can think of it as Green Lantern's ability, where he can create things out of his own imagination. Injuring their finger can cause them to become incapacitated. The Charyok can create actual legendary weapons and shield. And honestly, some of these guys can even bring up some ancient mythological weapons. The anime community needs to recognize the untapped potential of Korean and Chinese webcomics.
Oh brother, this guy stinks!
The main characters of God of Highschool are disconnected from their world. Despite the tournament fights being broadcasted on television, they had no idea about the JoJo stands until they saw them in person. You can excuse it by assuming they never watch television or they don't care about what is going on a few blocks away from their house, but it will always come down to the main characters being completely autistic to their surroundings without a good reason. They were not raised in the wilderness like Son Goku. They are not living in the Middle Ages where information is hard to find, and they are not poor to the point they can't afford to check out social media. It's literally the author not incorporating magic into his setting and making his main characters clueless about something everybody else knows of. And if you still wonder why is that a problem in a dumb action series, it comes down to plot and setting being completely irrelevant to one another. The ridiculously fast pacing is only making it more clear. Scenes come and go very fast and without having any actual effect on the world. Partly because the nature of tournament arcs is to isolate those who are fighting from whatever is going on with others around them, so they can get all the spotlight for a while. The ring they are fighting on is literally a safe space that keeps away the rest of the world. If someone overuses this concept, you end up with characters that are completely disconnected from the very world they are living on. And I know you can point out how the same thing applies to most other tournament arc anime, such as Baki or Kengan Ashura. Does it matter what is going on outside of the ring? You are watching the damn show for the fighting, not the world building. I would agree if the webcomic wasn't trying to overcomplicate things by constantly cutting away to what is going on in faraway places, and if the fighting was actually done well. Both of which do not happen, because we constantly see stuff that happen in other places, and because of the ridiculous fast pacing, most of the fighting is skipped. That is what makes it a fundamental problem that you can't ignore as easily as you would in other similar shows. And I must point out that Korean manhwa are notorious for becoming disconnected from their settings in general. I've read enough and they all had the same problem, regardless of what the world is like or what the objective is about. From a point on, the characters stop giving a shit and move from one fight to another without noticing anything else that is going on around them. The God of Highschool went a step further and made its main characters autistic from the very beginning, because the plot doesn't go beyond tournament arcs, and the very main characters you are supposed to root for don't even know what is going on beyond their noses. Their permanently red noses, that is. And that is why the God of Highschool is awful, even amongst Korean manhwa. And the fact that it's one of the most popular fighting webcomics further proves the horrible taste of webcomic readers. Just like it happens with SAO and Twilight, a lot of people love complete garbage, which is why I am making so many videos about said complete garbage. If it had been ignored, I would have ignored it too. But instead of that, we have to support it. This is the new age of anime because it's from Korea. What's that? People are pointing out why it's complete garbage? La 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 la. Just like the main characters, I'm isolating myself from critical thinking. La 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 la. Is this how you want it to be like? To keep saying the God of Highschool is amazing because it's from Korea? Please do, and I will keep making more videos about why it's not.
So, like, I've seen a lot of criticism surrounding the God of Highschool, and to be honest, I understand it. But even with the criticisms, I think in the long run, this is going to become a really good show. What? Shit pacing, or maybe no story? You should give it a chance before you make any assumptions about the show. What? And I get the complaints about the story, but you can still enjoy the show. Like, nothing's going to stop me from enjoying this show. I still fall more for the characters than I would in a show like fucking SAO. What? There's a lot of stuff they've missed out, which help just even explain a little more of what's going on in the background. But the thing is, at the end of the day, they've got 13 episodes to work with, right? And they've got to pack in as much as they can. What? The pacing can be a bit off, yeah? And the story is non-existent at the moment. It's still pretty fucking popular. Like, think about SAO, right? SAO is massively hated, but yeah, it's still one of the most popular anime out there. What? And I mean, yeah, there's still problems with, but you just gotta stick with it and ride it out. What? Where is this wedding come from? It's just popped out of nowhere, mate. It's just been thrown at me. This anime has a lot of potential, and eventually, I think this show is gonna be really, really good. What? Someone's just fucking slapped me in the face and been like, yeah, there's a wedding happening, by the way, like right now, and I'm like, what? This anime basically needs just time. They're going to be able to produce a lot more episodes and know what they're able to work with, and I think the pacing will improve massively, and they'll be able to develop aspects of the story. What? There's no real explanation, just some fucking dudes in these hoods like, oh yeah, go and steal her sword, blah 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 blah. There is so much more to appreciate about this show, and you should definitely give it a chance. What?